Gender inequality is so widespread, so prevalent, that there's no one institution that can do it. And I think that's exactly what gender mainstreaming is all about, to say that all of us, wherever we are, whatever our sphere of influence, we all have a responsibility to end inequality. And so human rights institutions are at the heart of that agenda and have a particular responsibility and an obligation to model gender equality in their work, but also to promote it and to protect it.
By national human rights institutions better reflecting the composition of their society, by recognising that 50% of the population are women, you are necessarily going to have a better conversation with your stakeholders, a more representative conversation with your stakeholders. So APF member institutions are becoming increasingly aware that they need to walk the walk and not just talk the talk around gender equality.
They need to look at their work practices, to look at their procedures, to look at how they hire, to look at how people are treated and how people are supported in their work environment, and think about this not just from principles of women's human rights such as equality and non-discrimination, but also very basic principles of human rights, justice and fairness and equality.
So in every component, whether research, whether campaigns, whether we're looking at handling complaints, awareness building programs, education programs, working with the civil society organizations, we allocated more time to look at the gender component. Also, internally within the Commission, we are very careful that, it's always in our top priority to ensure that we give opportunities for women for being employed. But having said that, there's still a lot that we have to do. Because sometimes, national institutions with 65 staff members is really a small society. Understanding gender and being sensitive to gender issues requires a kind of practice or a form of life, a style of life, which is not necessarily there in our schools, in our families, in our societies, and therefore it's reflected in our Commission.
What we have done is, in the appointment of our council, Advisory Council, National Advisory Council on Human Rights, we have tried to cast the net widely to get representative elements of the population in the council. And of course, gender equality in Samoa is not just about male and females. There is also a third group, which we just commonly label as or name as Fa'afafine. They've been around a long time and they've been accepted for a long time in Samoan society. Not as men, not as women, but as Fa'afafines. And I've reserved a place for the Fa'afafine Association.
We are what we do, not what we say, or as I like to say, human rights starts at home. We have to get our own house in order first, and then we can take these messages out to the rest of the world. So having gender diverse human rights institutions is absolutely fundamental to creating change in nations and being a really effective human rights institution, because the data's clear. Those organisations which have better gender diversity, and particularly at the senior levels, perform better. Not only that, I ensure that in this organisation there's good policies on sexual harassment, there's good policies on parental leave, flexible work for both men and women, all those things that we're talking about in other organisations that actually we are starting with ourselves.
We have standards all over the world. We know what has to be done. We just have to have the political will to do it. And what is political will? Determination and ability to achieve the result that you want. Yes? And I think we have more ability now, and we certainly have more determination. But I think we need to all hold ourselves individually accountable, and national rights institutions have that role of ensuring accountability.